else are we doing? I think we're going to be talking technology in the next second of the show.
Yeah, we are. Bernie, now you may have heard of the Internet of Things making smart homes, but what about smart factories and workplaces? We're going to talk to one company that's helping business become more connected. That's next. For that, look, stay with us because we're going to talk tech with Tech Mahindra now, an Indian tech consultancy firm that is helping firms realise their IoT potential. Amit Sharma is joining us now, Vice President and Global Digital Head at Tech Mahindra, joining us live here at the SGX. Welcome to the program. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks.
You and I, Amit, were having a little bit of a discussion in the break. What I would like to know from you at this point is what, in 10 years' time, what do you see the business environment looking like when it comes to technology, automation, robotics, all of that sort of thing? What are we going to be working within? What sort of concept are we going to be working in 10 years' time?
Right, so we are already living in a highly connected world today, and it will be hyper-connected. So 10 years from now, I would see my son, right, and that's the age which is the Generation Z, as we call after the millennials, who will be living in a world where it will be, again, connected self, connected homes, connected vehicles, right? So they will be more open to share ideas and also more open to share data which they are generating through this connected living, right? So we see more challenges coming up in terms of how to protect this data, and the privacy issues will become much more prominent at that point in time. So within Tech Mahindra also, we have been dealing with the issues when we create such solutions which are more futuristic, right? So there are always challenges because there are no standards, right? So interoperability sometimes becomes an issue. And also for the data privacy or the protection of the data, what we believe is best is to give the control to the customers, right? So they can modulate their data and they would have clear clarity as to what to share and what not to share with the third-party service providers. So it will be a hyper-connected world, and with more and more data being made available in the future.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the security being a big concern. That always has been the case, but when you think about IoT, there's no borders in place, and that seems to be the big challenge. You can have Singapore writing one rule in terms of where the security measures should be, but when you've got everything online in the cloud, how do you go about securing that, and how do you enforce that kind of regulation when there are no borders?
Yeah, so obviously there will be an involvement from the regulatory bodies as well in terms of standardizing certain things and to create policies which will govern some of these. But also what we are also observing is with some of the new technologies which are coming in, like blockchain is no more a concept now, right? There's so many applications which are now getting rolled out with the blockchain. So somewhere and sooner than later, blockchain and IoT will converge. And the cryptographic algorithms which are being used by blockchain will obviously help us to protect this data. So customers should not be so much worried because there are technology majors who are working in this direction will take care of.
When will this merging happen? How quickly is this likely to happen, that IoT and blockchain are actually going to come together and merge? And what does it mean for business? How does business deal with that?
So to answer the first part of your question, how soon? Obviously, I can't commit a date here, but I would say it should not be taking years, right? It will be some matter of months now, where these two things will be merging. There are already prototypes, there are already discussions happening between the ecosystem partners to make this happen, right? And also, what would it mean for business? Essentially, see, it's like today, if I don't know who's accessing my data, right, that's a major concern for me. But with these technologies being made available, I'll have absolute clarity as to what data is getting shared with the third-party service providers. And as a user, I'll have complete control on that. So essentially, you'll get a lock and key, which you can share. It's cryptographic has been in existence for a while, but with blockchain, it will be much more easier to work with.
Amit, our good friend and colleague Bernie in Hong Kong wants to jump in here with a question. Bernie, come on in.
Thanks, Al. Amit, I've been listening to this conversation with great interest, and as a representative of what was the tail end of the baby boom generation, I find it interesting. You look like a very young guy, probably Generation Y or Z, or the tail end of the millennial age or something like this. You always talk about convergence and the Internet of Things and driverless cars and all this. Let me say something. Let me just throw this out there. I think there's going to be a bit of a pushback a little bit. I think there's a limit to how much technology people want in their lives, how much they want to shout at their phones to control the lights and the heating and cooling and the refrigerator inventory in their homes. And that sort of thing. Amazon found that Amazon Go didn't work, so they're pushing that back. People weren't used to shopping and being tracked by technology and walking out of a store without running into a cashier. What do you have to say about that? I know it's just one example.
Yeah, so we probably will have to wait for another 4 or 5 years when the Generation Z is more equipped and they're ready to experience all of what is getting created today. So if we look from our generation, so I belong to Generation X, right? I'm not that young, Bernie. So, but if you ask my son, right, so he'll be more open to share data. He'll be more open to reach out to the various technologies which are available, at least to experiment them. So I'm sure in the coming few years you will see much more adoption of these technologies, much more acceptance from the next generation, which we refer as the digitally native customers.
And it's worth noting, I mean, I know we don't have a lot of time here, but we talk about the gadgets so much, but when you talk about IoT, so much of that is about efficiency and improving on the industrial IoT front, which is often something that's not covered. I mean, we've already seen them push towards automation. Are we only going to see more of that as a result? I know you signed a huge deal with Bosch recently. That sort of builds on that idea.
Yeah, in fact, we're the first Indian IT company who invested in the testbed as part of the Industrial Internet Consortium. And that was done along with Bosch and Cisco. So the whole idea was to create the test bed so that some of the large customers, like one of the largest aircraft manufacturers, who is an existing customer of ours, they are now leveraging their test bed for automating the Bosch tools, and these are the power tools which can be remotely configured and programmed. That we are seeing that this is helping us to do a lot of automation on the shop floors.
What I'm waiting for is for my vacuuming to be done while I'm at work.
That we can do today as well.
Oh, you can do it already? Oh, I'm way behind the times. Amit, look, thank you so much for joining us. I'll speak to you after the show about that vacuuming situation. Really appreciate your time. All right, well, Squawk Box, we'll be right back.